Testing, testing. Hello, hello, America. Name is James, and I want to chime in on what I've been hearing on social media, and it was a couple of commentaries about the communities, other than some Caucasian communities. Why do they take to the abuse? It all goes back down, and I believe in the beginning of time, since the day of the mind of the slave, the mind, and a lot of people from the past who look at slavery as it was back then, carried the spirit of slavery today. They could carry the mindset of today. And a lot of the people that did them betrayed other black people just to gain the people that were owning them slaves. It's the same kind of people today. Some people will sell you up down the corner for some money. They'll sell you out for anything because they just want, like other groups of people, and it's not just particularly black, but you got other groups of people taking the event, whatever price that they pay, whatever to gain the power, that's what they will take just to gain power of what they possess, and they want to be in the limelight. But what a lot of people don't realize, by selling your own people down the river, that there's gonna come a cost. And it's just like it's even tied up with a spiritual system, that even you can sell your soul to the devil, and that's the very common thing that you hear a lot on social media about celebrities selling their soul to the devil, and which is in some cases that I believe that can be true. But if you sell your soul to the devil, he's gonna come and reap for your soul. And what a lot of people don't realize is that has blood on your hands, and it's something that I would want blood on my hands, or something subconsciously. But I believe that's one of the reasons why it's a lot of black people that can't stick together, is because they repeat what some people during that time do the same thing now. They basically is to portray the masters of the ones that are like the descendants of they are today, and what they have to do is to gain their little fame and their little fortune, and just to feed their own ego or their own attitude. Basically, it's really sad, because even though you have a certain portion of African Americans that are in high places, and you have some in the middle or some in the bottom income bracket as far as unemployment, and due to the different circumstances and everything, a lot of people don't realize that when it comes to overall, that not just not just one certain ethnic group of people, even though that they run in things, but other ethnic groups of people are coming on the suppression of the people that thinking that they're higher than the African Americans, because of what the TV and everything else has portrayed them as when it comes to the local news and local media. But yet at the same time, the same people don't mind seeing them perform in music and sports and any kind of entertainment, whatever. And some people some people that know that, it's almost like they see you like a toy more than so much like a human being. A lot of it's really sad. And then you have other groups of people that come in bringing the and profit off the ones that they know that don't have the understanding and have a stability in the community. So some people you have vultures that come in and just take advantage and make money for them own selves and go back and to their own community. And it's like most people, it's just one of the things that happened and it's just that, and whatever. And another thing that we can't stick together. It's just that we divide up in so many different ways. We divide up in, as far as religion. That's the and that is so true. There's some we divide up what we spiritually believe. You know, some people believe in the Most High God. Some people don't want to believe. They want to worship, you know, the ancestors, but they want to worship that system and what in which they don't understand. And I figured this out that the Most High God picked the people that everybody was put on a low scale. But yet, what was so great about the Most High God, He put His Son in the line where the people of the earth put His Son in alignment in the generations of men that look like the people that people despise that's in the earth. And that's the biggest secret that most people don't know. And the ones who do are waking up that this is coming to pass in the you know, people are picking this up in the word and by spirit, they picking this up that this is how it's coming about and everything. And it's just really, and you see it come at different groups of people, letting people know that they just, and this is probably pushed in other wise too, against other people, even if it comes to their religion too, that it's a basically fear, and basically is ignorance and fear, and it's just it's really sad, but it's just something that's happened. But particularly when it comes to African Americans, blacks in this country, is that with all these nations arising, some of them, not all, the individuals, let's say the individuals in the nations that feel like you're not etiquette, or you don't have the means, and they don't have the proper understanding on what you've been through, and why that how the past is connected to the present, is because they never really sat down and communicated with most African Americans and blacks. People never really took the understanding of why these people can't get past the slave part, because it is because some black people are carrying that same spirit in which they going back and connecting, and so they back with the ancestors 2,000 years ago, and they can't, and some are advancing, some of us, but it's just in increments of number advancing, but you have the ones that still carrying the traits of not really motivating and getting discouraged in the spirit, not the, or some see as no hope because the words that's been spoken over their life, not to push forward and everything. And it's really, and that's really, really sad. And so a lot of times you have a lot of people, it's just they're bound up, and truly is to really to seek you. The only way some blacks, a good proportion of blacks, they have to come back and recognize the Most High God. There is no other way around it. You can try other avenues and avenues and a spiritual system, but it won't work. Once you acknowledge who who you are, and forgive, forgive whatever the Most High show you, then you will be released from it, and you'll come like many others, and your eyes will be open, and your family's eyes will be open, I truly believe that the black people can come together. I believe that they can, but part of it is that they have to let the old slave go. What our the ancestors of African Americans, the blacks such as ourselves, been in this country for 400 some years. And particularly, I feel personally, if they can look at it from the spirit where they're at right now, basically they will tell you they paid the price, but they want you to take the fight forward, keep pursuing, keep striving for where it was left off with them. I think that's what they would say if they had to came back in the spirit and they had a chance to talk with you right now and say, keep pursuing, keep pushing forward. That even though that we went through the most horrific things in modern in a unequivocally in any part of the world, but they would want you to push forward. African American black people are great people, and don't let no other nation let you feel like you inadequate. They think that because what the media has said, it is fault. I mean, they're just telling just one portion, and just that some people they misguided. They don't some of the people that's out there that only think that they know a certain way of life as far as the streets, but they never was really shown that you don't have to be that, and that's not have to be what you would call, a destructive behavior, considering it being part of the black culture. Because really, it's not really the black culture have a destructive behavior. It's a rebellion culture. And it was a situation I was looking at about this rapper called Kendrick Lamar. And it was something that he was down in Alabama and he was in front of some young people rapping a song. And this young white girl come up on stage and she was singing this, singing the lyrics of a rap song. Well, in the rap song, it was the N word that was used, and with the so as she's singing the song, she ended up saying the N word that was in the room. So therefore, they cut the tape, they cut the radio, and say that's disrespectful. This is what I don't understand. What I understand as an artist and as a musician, young people, regardless of race, color, and creed, look at you as an example. All when you a celebrity and you whatever debauchery, whatever thing you put over the air or over the airways, young people gonna pick it up from all walks of life. So they're trying to be cool, to be rebellious, to be different, and so this the song has influenced them to be that rebellious regardless, because that's and so when you hear young black men or black women using the N-word and that stuff going out over the culture, basically, and that's going out over the airways, people are picking it up and saying that we cool, we mimicking you because we're admiring, and they're way saying we're admiring you, and this is cool that we can do that. So they go around and they some people don't have no sense. They'll go back and try to put it in their culture, trying to be different. And somebody in their culture said, why are you acting like this? Where is this coming from? Where is this rebellious? It came from the music. And sometimes the artists have to take note of that. So if you don't want no one to say the N-word because a white fan says something, then stop making music that put the N-word in it. But there's a double standard with that too, because you got some black people, I think they have a certain insecurity about themselves because it seems like if they don't keep it hood or they don't keep it a certain way, that they scared to be set themselves apart. As just because God made me as a black man don't mean that I have to like everything because that's 100 as a black man do. I'm defined by my personality, not by my color of my skin. That's what I think some black people need to understand. And what the whole community, what they say, you're not part I mean, you're part of you're part of the community, but you're an individual when it comes to things you like. God made you a different person as far as the individual. Just because He put you in the skin, don't mean you have to go along with everybody that have the same skin, and have to go along and with the same likeness and to set yourself apart. And I think, and it's sad when you have individuals in the community that do that when they set their own self apart as their own different personality, they get called out for it. That they get called out, they get called racial names from their own people within their own same skin. But yet, how's that black pride? How is that black pride? I mean, you don't hear other groups of people in their own nationality, their own languages, calling out their own people or racial derogatory in their own people. Why do we do it as black people? Why do we do that? Just because someone has a different of opinion or they have a different insight. I mean, and that's to go back to that. It's like a bully mentality. It's like you can't have your own opinion with whatever it is, religion, politics, whatever, your insight, whatever. You have to talk like the hood. You don't talk like the hood, something wrong with you. It's almost like it's like it. I'll make this for example. You don't like soul food. You don't like eat pig feet or greens or like sweet potato pie. Something wrong with you. I mean, it's like you're not black enough. Like what the what that's ridiculous. But you have some people who have that mindset. They think that just because you look like me, we in this culture come from this culture together. We all must like the same thing. Instead of just thinking that just because you come into a culture, there might be certain that you might be going through the same thing as far as the whole society, but as an individual, you are different. God made you as an individual, not just the skin, and that's what it is. It's making the individual who the individual is, and that's one way that we have to really. And I think as Black people need to understand that no matter what part of the world, no matter where we come from, we have something in common as far as mainstream society. No matter how successful you get, or if you just somebody that's low income to someone who is a multi-millionaire, you're gonna have to face some degree of racism in the westernized world. Sooner or later, some will. It'll get you over certain humps, but at every degree, you're gonna encounter some kind of racism. It is. It's a fact. And sometimes, and as time go on, it will reveal itself because it came from a realm that is unseen. Some people just know how to conserve it really well, and that's what I learned. And I was a particular kind of person. My I was raised from a single mom, and I had my great grandmother lived in the projects, and my dad had his issues. He wasn't locked up or nothing like that. My real father, like most, he was a typical father. He was on, he had jobs and things like that. And but he was a good. But the one thing about my father, he had a good trait of being a father, even though he wasn't perfect in other ways. But when I look at him as a father, he makes sure that as a son, that I was taken care of. And that's what's really important about that. And I think that that's where it starts at. Fathers need to stick next to be more, and I'm pretty sure there are some fathers that are being more involved and being an example and give and impart their son wisdom that come from the Most High God, not street wisdom, not hood wisdom, not man wisdom, but godly wisdom from the Most High God. That's how I feel about that. But I do believe that there's hope for some of us will make it through, and some of us will get some of it. Black people and African American, some of us get this, and some of us don't understand it because of the mindset what is raised, and it's just that it's a rebellious. It's a rebellion mindset, and that it's been so adopted into the community that I think that this is part of the culture is be rebellious. How you speak, the way you with the sagging in the pants and different things like that, that's part of the culture. And really it's not part of the culture. It was someone determined to try to put it into the culture to make it seem cool. And it didn't come off like that. When you look at the history of African Americans and Black people in the United States of America and probably different parts of the world, just because they didn't stay as a mind of a slave. Some had brilliance, some had intellectual. Oh, that was just just beaten in and just put up under the rug because of the history and everything. And it's really sad. But the only way to get for us to come to, for most to come together is that it has to come back to the spirit and call on the Most High God, not call on these other different type of gods, not the God of your ancestors. That's that's not going to do it because reality of it is if you would step into the spirit realm of where their ancestors and had the insight of where they're at, there's only two places there's either two places they can be. They with either with the Most High God, or some could be in another place, another dimension, and it's not connected here. And if you did see somebody that supposed to be your ancestor, they probably wouldn't be your ancestor. It'd be a familiar spirit, which would probably be a demonic spirit, mimicking what your ancestors was 2,000 years ago. 2,000, I don't know, 100 years ago, 300 years ago, because we forget that spirits roam the earth. So they take up whoever that person was in your family. And they can come as a person in your dreams who could be your ancestor. And it may not be your ancestor. Could be a demonic spirit. So the right one to get with is the Most High God through his son Yeshua, and some will call Jesus Christ. And that's the only way. He's the only one who's going to technically set and break the chains and break the freedom. He is the only one. None of these other false gods are going to do it. None of these false religions is going to do it. It has to come through. The people can't be set free. And I know there was this probably is the ancient fear because the people were running and controlling the world. But God never left his throne. This is what I understand. The Most High never left his throne. He got it all intact. And so I do believe Black people, African Americans, have will make it. Coming on through, and some have yet to open up the eyes and see where the vision is at. And there's something to come, and some, unfortunately, some might perish with some of the people who's in the rebellion, not because it's the color of the skin, because the rebellion nature that they have, like any other group of people that around. And so that's what's going on. When you like rebellion, you get the results of rebellion. And being rebellion at some point from a spirit that rebelled, an evil spirit that came from an evil high entity, basically, which we know that try to rival the Most High God, try to be basically came from rebellion. And so now you have rebellious people acting out in rebellious ways and speaking out in the blasphemous and profanity in ways because they like that rebellion. And then to them and the people who think like them, that's keeping it real. When you just can express yourself being rebellious. And so, but you got to be careful because whatever you speak, you become. A lot of people don't see that fact either. And it's the truth. But I do believe that. And it's some people waking up. They're waking up, and there are some to come or hitting in their own time, in their own season of it. But to get back to it, until then, But you have certain issues such as colorism. You have certain issues as far as you can't trust nobody because they ain't from the same block you from, or from the same city or state you from. Until you kill all that, I mean if you keep dividing yourself up as the people, that's just going someone gonna come in there and invade and interpret and understand that there's a division, and they see you how you killing off, trying to claim something that technically by paper, by government, you don't have. And so, but if you keep, putting each other down and calling another black man out his name or black woman out her name or whatever, people see that they're not going, another nation's not going to respect you. That's the truth. No matter how loud you yell, no matter how you bring the fist or bring a gun, that's people won't respect you if you keep downing other people or having envious of other people. And if you see someone that's making strides, be happy for them, man. I mean, because if they're able to overcome the overall racism of America, to achieve to get to where they got, to hit those hurdles, like most people from all nationalities hit hurdles, but we particularly, you come from a group of people that has to hit the hurdle real hard to get that breakthrough, and it came through hard work, persistence, and sweat and tears. So you should be happy for them, man. Don't hate on them before, because they might come back and pull you up. Don't be, as they said, don't be a hater. Be happy for them. That's what I would figure, that you would be happy for a person. But that's one of the things. So it's basically, but that's some of the reasons why, is because as long as we don't have a certain level of respect for one another, as far as where we're from, how we speak, how we present ourselves, then people will find, then people on the outside will find other ways they will see that, and they would take advantage of it and mock it and make it for their own gain. Because that's what other people do. When they see your dysfunction, they know how to capitalize on your dysfunction. And I just believe that's the truth. That people capitalize on the dysfunction and everything. And it don't. And another thing about the past is because, and I hear this, and it's true. It seems like it must be true about the house slave and the Negro slave, which today would be the education, and the one that's had to do hard labor, and the ones who's had support, like getting with the white collar because their education or some kind of favor that they got, and therefore that the environment changes the way they look at the other black men and black women, because of the mindset that they have. And it's the whole attitude. Because I've seen it here how some have think that they're better because of their education, and others they are not at the same level that they are. So you get it from both ends. But overall, if you look at prejudice and racism and bigotry as a whole coming against you as an African American individual, I mean, they're not going to take time out to look to see what your background is. They don't have time to what shade of color, if you're light brown, dark skin, light skin. So you have to get over that. that's not going. They see you as a whole. So no matter, and if you are to the point you have money, there's someone is a the more money you have, the more problems you probably have too. You have people trying to use you, manipulate you, And some people might be trying to kill you if you don't have the Most High guys watching over you. So, and that's my opinion. One of the things on why we can't come together is just basically, you have to love it. People have to respect one another, respect one another's views, respect how the way they speak, where they present themselves, and maybe not be so envious, jealous, and maybe listen and see where this person input and their perspective come from. No matter if they come from the southern United States, southwestern United States, northeastern United States, northwestern United States, or anything in between, because we all have something in common when it comes to America looking at the skin and its hair. That's the truth and the features. That's the truth. And that's how I feel about that. Basically, start with your spiritual. It's all spiritual because we know that we're spiritual people. God, the Most High made us a spiritual people. Even our counterparts over in the motherland of Africa, parts of Africa, they're spiritual. It's a spiritual uniqueness with us, and that's what I realized that too. And with some people over there in Africa, I mean, they come up to a perspective of they know who they are, and there's no need, even though they might have this slight disagreements politically over anything, but it shouldn't be saying something derogatory another person that come from the continent or even another country that's in the continent, to put each other down, when in reality there's outside forces see them all the same way. And I don't know that they know that, but there's outside forces that have you discriminate against them in their own land. And so pretty much it's like, and these same outside forces have to bring the mindset to the islands in the Caribbean and into the Americas. These outside forces is something else, man. That and it seems like if you, and I never could figure this out about people that, and this is and it's not go for one particular nationality, but for some of the nationalities, if you don't like African looking people, why are you going in parts of the world? Why you want to prosper off of people and put your business there? That's something I will love to know. That I would love to know that there's some of these people that don't think that they're very intelligent. They think that when they think of Africa, that some people have some kind of connection with the animal or some kind of connection with the mind of an animal or whatever. If you think that way, then why you come over there? And if you're not going to give respect to the people, my question is, why did they come over there? Why would you want to be around the people that you fear, you scared, and that you wouldn't bring to the table, as far as bring them to your own home and having sit down and having a talk with them? I never could understand how any nationality of people can justify going to a place where they are seeing other people and some of these people in these other nationalities with this mindset. Why would you even go there? Why would you go to a country? I've been wanting to ask this question. It's like, why would you go to a country where you don't like the people, you can't stand the people, but yet you come around the people? It's the same way. It's like, like here in America, you have people that have their stores in predominantly African American communities, and black, what you want to call them. They don't like the people. They scare the people. They don't trust the people. But yet you come around the people. I just I just don't understand it. And I figure if you would go to the other counterpart, put your biz out there with the other counterpart, and be out there since your kids out there in the best schools around the other counterpart, the opposite of the counterpart who you are afraid of. Why do you come around the people? Why do you come? That's what I would want to know. Why did they come? Why did they have these stores set up in black neighborhoods? If you feel like you got to get worried about getting robbed, why come in there? I never could figure out some people that they don't like blacks. They don't like Africans. Why even do why you have your business there? I mean, why you come around this? I just don't understand that. If any group of people around the people and I feel like inadequate people, I'm not gonna go around the people that feel that way. I'm not gonna go around it if I have this bias towards these people, and it's just funny. I think it's just kind of strange that, and then the really funny part about it about people, this from all people, you think that the people because maybe they don't speak your language or understand, but people know body language. People know when they're not liked, and you could I don't care. You can walk in a room and you can tell the person if they like you that they don't like you, or it's just something about you see a group of people, but you're trying to reserve your biases in the thing. So if you're biased, if you're a biased person, don't go around people that make you feel that way. Why put yourself through that? Why would you want to be around people that such as African Americans, if that's at least to the individual, because they don't reflect the whole race, but the ones who do, the ones who are taught this in their homes. Why do you? And I would love to ask them, why do you want to make money off of people who you find who are not inadequate educationally, they're wild or whatever perception that it is, but yet you come and you expect them to come into your place of business. I never could figure that out. And it's just I'm just airing out some things. And it's really what's it's doing is going to eventually push the people at some point. Once the people like most African Americans gonna figure it out. The other half already started already, but the other half is gonna figure out maybe we should just withdraw dollars. Maybe we shouldn't, because I mean, common sense could tell you if someone don't like you. No, why keep going around the place that don't people don't like you? They feel inadequate about you as soon as you walk into a place of business. This is another thing that will probably push African Americans and blacks together and maybe have their own separate place, maybe have their own separate area. And so therefore anybody on the outskirts, you know, have their own business. I think that it's going to probably get to that point at some point in time. It's like, look, you already shown you don't like us. You scared of us. You fear us. You think lowly of us, and then you try to succumb it, and you think that as a human being, just because our complexions is different, our ethnics is different. But one thing about the human race, every human being knows when they're not like and when they're not like. They know when they every human being knows this. But as far as with as the African Americans that's concerned, the only reason why these other people are able to come in and make money off of because they know that they're not going to stick together. They fighting over areas because of illegal activity or some just maybe the way the atmosphere and environment is with some people. And so some people risk their livelihood coming down among an atmosphere where they don't feel too comfortable around. And it's really sad because it's really sad that they're going to a community such as an African American Black community, and people are scared. Some people are scared to come out the house to watch the kids because somebody's acting irrational out there towards another person, and they don't have the subconscious inches of thinking that if you shoot a gun or something like that, being mad at somebody, yet you so mad that the bullets, if you pull out the pistol or gun, bullets start flying, it's gonna hit some innocent person. And then you have to go back to the same, call out the same force that comes and roughhouse you and mistreat you in a kind of way, even though you may not be the person that have showed those characteristics, but they come into a community because they come in already with the perception of what they come into. And it's funny, it's because, and I think that's kind of funny when people say, well, we don't, people say they don't see color. Oh, yes, maybe they might, maybe they can trick themselves that, but subconsciously, you can't trick the subconscious mind when you see color. It automatically, when it's programmed with you by the media, when it's programmed with you by radio, it was programmed with you by video, news, and different apps. Like, oh yeah, you can be programmed. It's easy to be programmed, to be prejudiced or biased against somebody. And any person can have prejudice and bias against somebody. You see it all the time with different groups of people. And it's really should send a message to the people who are being oppressed that maybe you should stick together. Maybe you need to kind of heal and learn to understand and love one another and respect one another. And as far there's only I think it's a small segment in the African American community understands that concept. It's too bad the rest, the 66, 70% don't understand it because maybe what their perception is acting wild, and someone ain't acting disrespectful or causing no drama, that it must be something wrong or something isn't real. And it's the truth. It really is. It's just, but that's my thought about that segment tonight. And we divide up basically on spiritual system, and we're angry at the, there was another thing I wanted to make mention about. One of the things, is religious system. One of the things, is common things I'm hearing across social media, is the Black church, which is but usually it's church, but it's Black people talking about their church. And some people don't have the maturity enough to not know that there's some men and women that you see in some churches but never called a God. And you can't fault the other churches, the other good churches, good Black churches who do step up to the plate and help them out. This is another where we get divided up at. And then you got some people debating by the one who came and died for our sins, where we get our deliverance, we get our peace, we get healing, generational curses broken off. And this one who we call Jesus Christ, Yeshua. You have people that's out there right now on social media saying that which is we coming to the end times, is now they want to deny his name and say that it must be another name. But what these people don't realize, that it's funny that you can say that with all your carnality and everything, but there's people out there that operate with the demons and operate with Satan, know how powerful the name is. They know how powerful the name Jesus Christ is. They know how powerful Yeshua is. And it's funny when people who don't believe yet they don't understand that there's somebody that it could be by the grace of the Most High God through his son, Jesus Yeshua, is because something was probably blocked from you from causing the enemy from taking your life. Somebody in your family could have was about to get into an accident. But if mercy was grace over you who don't believe in the name, you wouldn't probably be here. And that's the truth. And that's reality. People want to debate about this, and that's the debate about the name. But in the last days, when evil is increased on the earth, my suggestion, my brother, my sister, you better know what name to call. Because you don't want to be like the, as you read in the Bible about the priests of the vagabond Jews. They know how to use a certain name. They claim that they have, but they didn't have the connection with the Most High God. They didn't have permission to pray because these spirits these people that you're attacking, the spirits in them going to act out, and they're gonna start attacking you probably. I'm just saying, and you're gonna probably call it might be some supernatural stuff might be on the rise. If it ain't on the rise, it may be in the different parts of the world right now, but it could be coming toward the United States, or it might be in the United States. So for those who want to debate about this name, about the Messiah, I said, just remember one thing. We are in the last days, and the supernatural is happening and will increase. So you better know the name. You better have the right name to call on, and a name that will basically will know how to have the instructions to bind it and stop it from hitting you or hitting someone you love. Because we at the times now, and so I just want to throw that tad bit in there for those who don't believe in this certain name. But it's funny that the people that sometimes I see they read the Bible and they quote the scriptures and everything, but how is it that even something who has no connection, who rebelled up in heaven against God, who produced his own army in the earth or against God, controlling man 2,000 years ago and probably controlling and is controlling man now? How is it that they acknowledge the name of Jesus Christ? How is it that that man, that the spirit in it knew the man, that knew the Apostle Paul, and he said, Jesus, I know Paul, but I don't know you. Do you want to be one of those individuals because of your Pharisees, your Sadducee status, going against the church because because they don't use this your so-called pagan name? But it's kind of funny, but it's the name but the right name that they use brings the healing. The right name that they use brings generational curse. The right name that they use can set people free. Instead, it start with our people. If it hadn't been for the name, maybe some more of us would have been wiped out because if it hadn't been for the name of Jesus Christ. You never know. I'm just saying, because it sure wasn't the other lords and messiahs. They don't hear the prayers of your people. They don't hear us. They ain't gonna save you. They ain't gonna be able to prevent something from happening. If you would go down the road right now, or your family will go down the road and it's an accident waiting for you down the road, or somebody could be there with a gun and a knife. And let's say somebody and let's say that let's just say that, because it happens to people. We've heard cases. This is reality. People have gone down the same road and someone died. Someone got in a car accident and died. This is how the way this world is. This is how how serious this is. But that's just on. So that kept some of our people from perishing. That name, and it maybe, and again, it goes back. Some people in the church maybe probably fell off course. They got into these other rituals and got into the prosperity and got into other things. But don't dismiss the holiness of the foundation of it. Don't dismiss it, because at least at that time they kept things in alignment. Those people that held on to that. What do we have today? And a lot of that generation has fell off because you have balance. Now now that people are so want to pray to their own God and don't want to hear the name of the name of his son, which is his son. Now you seeing what's going on around you. Now you seeing this is the truth, and this is what caused division in not our race but our nationality, but with other people too. This is the truth. So that's so we split up on spirituality, which is the foundation of any people, and we split up on just that brings into all these other cardinal things. Everything, the family, and if you don't have the Most High over your family, that's not over your children, not over, not in your marriage or relationship. You're out of balance. And no matter what nationality or what people you're out of balance. And everybody know this. Do you know this? That's how I feel. And I know I'm not gonna get any popular views and might get any views about this, but it's reality. It's a real reality. This reality is real reality. Is what I'm bringing this subject up. The spiritual foundation is important to get with the spiritual foundation as a people. You have to have you can't have a people that's want to have this many separate gods. You've seen what happened is in the Bible, particularly our people. We're probably, you can tell that Bible fits us because we're going off with these different worshiping different systems. I believe we are that people in the Bible because we want to go off to New Age and all these other different avenues, but don't want to acknowledge the one that we had a relationship with. And I believe, like some people are, there going to be some of us is going to perish because of it, because of the unbelief. And then when people try to bring who have that relationship with the Most High, you can kind of snub them and just push them out the way. But you're gonna see, my friend, in these last days, these are the last days, and the enemy is rising up like I don't know what. There's a spiritual enemy that's rising up and is manifesting in people, and this is no lie. That's why people are doing unusual, crazy things that is unlike unhuman behavior, and basically it's almost like possession. Almost basically being possessed. So ain't no time. So ain't no time to be debating on what name to use. When that moment come, I don't care how many men you have around you. I don't care. You got a police force around you, because when that enemy acts up in the atmosphere, it's gonna tear something up from a supernatural through the natural of someone's body. That's the truth. And but it that's what we have to do as a people. Line Get alignment with the spiritual nature, with the Most High God, and come through that system. But if you go to this system, like other people in other religions, you go off with these other religions, these other messiahs, even worshiping yourself, there's gonna be a price to pay. If you make yourself your own God, there's gonna be a price to pay. Simple as that. And therefore you can't stick together as a family, as a community of people, or as any people, if you don't have a system where I'm gonna go my way, you go our way, because the enemy among the enemy will hit our people and keep us continually divided. You gotta understand that this is spiritual warfare. This is spiritual. Some people think it's cardinal, but this is spiritual. You got some people, they're very knowledgeable in the Bible, but they don't understand. And that goes with our people, that whatever you read is gonna have to apply it. And God's gonna have you required to apply what you read. It might be a situation you have to apply it, and he'll come behind that word to show that it's to that individual who's an unbeliever, whether he's a person that don't know about God, don't believe about God, or in some other type of religion, to see that this is the God that's in operation right now and able to do this right now. That's what's reality. That's why it's very important to know your spiritual where your spiritual foundation is at. Because you can call on these other gods into your religion, but who's going to answer? And who's going to show up? Who's going to step up to the plate and hear your prayers and come through from the supernatural to the natural to correct what it is that you've been asking for? That's the truth. That's the truth, my friend. It's the truth. And so that was one of the things. That's the second thing. That's one of the things that divide any group of people up. But basically, if you don't have no spiritual foundation as a community, as a family, you can't come together. And therefore, that's the reason why. And then you have a bunch of people, like any other group of people. You have egos and attitudes and everything. And everybody wants to be a head dog just to have some type of power. But if you don't have no wisdom, you can sound all book smart. But if you don't apply wisdom, head smart with wisdom and book smart, you could be one and one without the other, or other without the one. And so, yeah, that's my take on it. And I know this ain't gonna be popular with a lot of people, but it's a message, it's a fact. And what it started out with, and it's what I was saying in the beginning, why people can't stick together, why Black people can't stick together, is because that's the basic. It was because the foundation was off. And so therefore you go back to what you reflect on something that's in the past, to hold on to something, to go back to the old ways, go back, but in the process of going back to the old ways, you bring in some other things that's back that you are meant to advance in the present. And that's what's holding some of us back, and for succeeding. And then when we see someone who look like us advancing, then it must be some kind of conspiracy or some other kind of source that this person maybe will really just work their way up. And maybe they want to come back and help because they see the disadvantage of people. But sometimes some of our people don't even give us give a chance, because you got people that's just envious and jealousy. And then when some people try to drop knowledge, they try to give you something, then it's like with some people they get discouraged. And therefore it causes a split in the rift with people. And when they want to come back and try to do these things, and I believe it's sometimes with some even when it comes down to the churches, I believe that there's some churches that do want to help out, that do want to help their community. Not like I said, not all churches are bad. Not all people, not all what they say Christians, they call themselves Christians, are bad. They know that they have the basic concept. And that's what people don't realize, that push come to shove, these same people that's crying about a halt to come against the church, but if one of their relatives gets shot down in the street, who do they want to come pray over their service? Who did they come to? Who did they come to when if someone is in need of food? And it might be somebody who particularly is a giver, who operates and able to give and able to be there to be the counselor and whatever God has called them to be. But people need to stop beating up on that mindset, because not everybody, and there's some people that were called of the Lord, and some people that weren't called of the Lord. So, and you have to be mature enough to understand this. So that's why you maybe in some of the churches that you see, maybe them some of the men that were never called of the Lord, they were exalted, and then you have to understand they was exalted by men. This is what someone told me, because I posed the same question at one time, and my mentor told me, the person mentor, and she was a woman that was who's in God. She told me she with the wisdom that God had given her that hey, some of these people were never called to His kingdom, so they making a mockery out of His word, out of His word, and He's going to deal with them. He's going to show. That's why He allows some people to explain. When they get too cocky, He allows certain people to get exposed, so they can get spanked and get a chance to know that they continue to be arrogant. Then God takes it to the next level until they understand, until God can shut the doors on the church. And this is what he's doing right now, is in the earth. This is what she mentored me about. So not every person has that, because if you push come to shove, the person who has the love of God in them, that's the person you want to will come pray for you. That's the person that know how to handle a crisis when they come. That's the person that needs a prayer when they're in the hospital, when is someone in an accident or someone have been shot up or something like that, and they're about close as inches from death. You while you sitting up there, you one of these individuals criticizing, but someone that might come, but somebody who have a love of God might be the very one that studied that Bible and called on the right name, enabled that person able to get up and walk up out of that bed when the doctors already told that person that they're gonna die. It's no hope. There's no use. There's testimonies out there, even online. If you on social media, if you looked at it, if some people, but they don't mind. But you have people that look at the negative because they thrive on the negative, but they don't see the whole side of the story. There is there is the place, or is heaven and hell. People, and there's people going to it, and whether you can find someone is in a different religion that don't believe it, or a person that don't believe it. At the end of the day, it don't matter what the atheists think, or the person in other religions don't believe it, or who oppose God who don't believe it. Because at the end of the day, there's two things is guaranteed: is death and taxes. You're going to see one or the other. You're going to pay your taxes while you're living in this land, and it's death is permanent once you leave this shell of your body. So that can't be disputed right there. That can't be disputed. And the people that's in the land and living that wake up every day that would go to your funeral, we see that your body is asleep, but we don't know where your soul and spirit is at. We don't know if your soul and spirit is going to be in Hades or it's going to be in heaven if He chooses to bring you to heaven. So think about that. Think about that before you chime in on somebody. This is how powerful a person can be, who could be a Christian, and God can come behind and honor the prayers. Somebody have come and prayed, and God had asked them in the prayer to have the type of relationship they have with the Most High God. And people, the medical procedure, this person's supposed to be dead. And believe in some people, and they say your doctor as your specialist would tell you it's happened. They didn't get, and it was actually did call on the right name, and it called on the name of Jesus Christ, of the blood of Jesus, or whatever. There was deliverance of depression. There are people being delivered. So before you start, so these people want to argue with the name, you need to listen to some testimony. And there's people that got evidence that showed. That's what I would say. Because the testimony can't be disputed. The truth can't be disputed when the evidence is there. Because people want to see evidence. That's the truth. People want to see evidence. That's in man's nature. God knows it's in man's nature. They want to know. But when God releases something, the only thing God wants is He wants His glory. He don't want you to have the glory. That's why He tests all of us, even the ones who have a relationship with Him. He wants to see what the little that we have, how we gonna get with it. Because you know how people in the natural is, they get a little money and they get blessed in a season, and something particularly happen, and all of a sudden they have a change of attitude. They change their personality. They get cocky. They get arrogant. And here is that they're offered a blessing. And sometimes your blessing can shut up your attitude can shut up the blessings down. It might be a long time you get another blessing. And I mean, what I mean by blessing is that your family could be getting blessed. I mean, favor that doors were open that was closed to you. You couldn't get a job. All of a sudden, bam, you get called for a job. You couldn't get it in a new place. Bam, someone proved, and it happened. There's people got testimonies like this. But people don't want to share. People don't want to take time out to listen because you have a carnality of man out there that want to dispute everything that it is. Oh, that's just something. No. That person, no. They know what a miracle. They know how hard, and when the doors were shut, they know the walk. But I'm sorry I'm going on this rant like this, but it started out one thing, but this is going to, it leads to another. But but that's why people can't come together. Because when you have a lot of jealousy and envy of people and resentment and crabs in the barrel, so to speak, and of course and that's what it is. You can't come because you can't come to an agreement. Excuse me. And that's the truth. But it's all definitely start at that foundation. And then when you see the foundation of the family come in, then the community comes in. And one community comes in, you have a whole community. You have a whole people that have come into agreement of righteousness and justice and living right. And doing and not and respecting one another as men and women that were built on the future generations to come. That's the solution right there. By coming together, and it comes. And a couple people I've heard say this on social media. They're right. It comes back to the family. It comes back to what it was, the structure of the family. If you have no structure, then you can't come together. You can't come together as a family, and you can't. And some are not coming together as a community of people. And then as far as the nationality and race, is always going. Unfortunately, what's in the past, you're gonna have the good with the bad that's in the present. If it was in the past, it's in the present, and it's gonna probably be in the future too. Because you got some people that want to hold on and bring the old past into the present and put it in the future. And therefore, some people say, no, you got to let go of the past. Let go of those things in the past, the mindsets of things in the past, of what the people have come before you have done, and live for what is right now, so you can be the legacy that when you leave in the future, futures of your children or people come behind you will carry it forth. And this is the truth. This is the reason why. Why? But if you have people that steady studying the past, that's what would prevent things. People are stuck in the past, unforgiveness, basically, and so that's part of that keeps you bound up when you have an unforgiveness, um, and just live, and you can't let things go. And we have all of us have shared this, have been through this. When you can't let things go, this is what happened. This is the truth. And therefore that any people can't move beyond that. You can't let that go. And therefore, and the reason why I mentioned this earlier about the spiritual foundation, because the spiritual foundation is the counseling of getting you, God of the Most High, get you through that and recognizing that and moving forward. Without the Most High, God, you ain't moving forward. Without it, move forward. You still holding on to something, and anger and resentment. Therefore, it's going to play into your relationship with people, bring it into your family, and bring it to anybody's around you. Then you'd infect everything around you. So this is what people don't understand, and it's just basic common sense. You don't have to have someone with a degree of psychology to figure this out. You just meditating and just pray and understand. Your understanding will come to pass on why this is happening, this is going on. And that's where these other things come up out of the past. And it's other people are starting to question, like, why don't you let this go? Why don't you let this go? And it's, the reason why, because some people haven't forgiven it. That's why some people, they say, well, why? How come some people are so quick to forgive? That's another question. That's another good question. Why are Black people are so quick to forgive? Because they don't want to hold on to something that's in the past. Because you hold on, if you don't forget something, then you'll dwell on it and you dwell on it and you'll dwell on it. You'll be angry. And the angrier you are, the more you dwell on it. And then you dwell on it forever. Then you can't, then you will have no peace. You will have no peace in your spirit. You will have no peace in your sleep. So that's why some people, they might not understand why some people forgive people like they do, because they trying to move forward. And by moving forward, it's good to be angry, but if you keep bringing something up, whatever you speak it up, you haven't. It has let people know you haven't moved forward, and so that's what it comes to an individual or whole people or a whole group of people because of unforgiveness. If you haven't forgiven, you're not going to be able to move forward. Then things are going to hinder you. It might hinder your relationship. It's going to show bitterment, and it's going to eat you up inside. Anger eats you up inside. Bitter unforgiveness eats you up inside. And this is what I believe with some churches, wise churches who hear from God, have revealed this revelation to them. And for man who his natural state of carnality is to get angry and say, and just be hatred and mean and vile. And what it does is it ages you in the inside and ages yourself on the outside. It does. It tears you up. Might even cost you things to starting in your health because of unforgiveness. So that's why some people are quick to forgive, because if they don't forgive, it's going to be on their mind. It's going to remind them all the time. So unforgiveness is the reason why people can't come together. Having the past and come together and having a rebellious society, rebellion, and saying that this rebellion belongs in our culture. This rebellion is part of our culture. The way we talk is a part of the rebellion. If I call you the N word, it's part of the rebellion. You black, I'm calling you the N word. That's part of the culture. It's a part of rebellion. It's the truth. What I'm spitting out is the truth. This is some godly stuff, wisdom stuff I'm spitting out. Spitting out what's on my heart, which is true. And for what I read about the history of our people, black people, we're smart people, we're creative people, man. Don't let the westernized society make you think that just because you're a slave that come from slave that you couldn't move no past. That's a lie. That's a lie to the pit of hell. You can't take a whole race or nationality of people because they were at the bottom and assume that they're going to be at the bottom from generation to generations to come. And this is what this westernized society have done to African Americans and Africans of the diaspora, but they're basically saying that these people can't move, and that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. And so it's too bad it's taught in our schools and sometimes it's showing through the blue tube. But we know that's a lie. And but that's how I feel about that topic. And so yeah, with the rebellion, with the spiritual system, unforgiveness, these are the steps, the reason why particularly African Americans are one of the groups of people that can't move forward. We cannot move forward. From what I just said tonight, what I said earlier, cannot move forward. That's why people keep asking, why do we do these things? Why are we stuck in this? Because we bringing something from the past into our present. We reflecting what our relatives who were the ancient slaves, who were the slaves from our ancestors, and we carrying part of it into this century. We bring it up from the past to the present. That's why some of us can't move on. That's why some of us still dwelling in those ways, and we living on the shores, reliving and encountering the same thing that what the ones have been here for 400 years encountered. And I guess it troubles some people who come to this country because when they get whiff of what the American blacks can't get over this is their perception, but they don't know the whole story. And the whole story is that is what I mentioned with the four things I mentioned earlier, and this was caused by that. And that's why it takes certain places to get over and come forth with different things and can't come together as a community and as a unit, and then eventually come together as other nationalities and other people if they choose to. Because as long as you have people that's still reflecting the past at you, they will keep you in the past. And the people who have then it's the other part. The people who have the racist attitude towards blacks, the Caucasian, white people, whatever you want to call it, the ones who choose to exercise this, keep the past going. So some people who are black respond from the past the same way it did 450 years ago, 500 years ago, because the same people who are descended from this, who was the slave master, who had the mind of the slave master, and along with it, who's up over the slave, basically keeps that going, keep that racism going. That's basic, and that's the reason why when it comes to the black and white thing here in this country, in different parts of the world, that keeps going on, because They don't want the people who have a perception. This is what the ones who carry that perception. This is who black people are. They have no education, whatever it could be, lack of education, lack of moral, lack of inability, intelligence, whatever, some kind of intelligence, whatever. This is coming from a racist, and comparing. Then it was so racist to the point that they compared the people to something of an animal, lesser than an animal. So, and they don't think that African Americans don't understand this, but they learn. Some of them learn about this, and therefore they put a bitter resentment. So therefore, the ones who carry the prejudice, the ones who say this among themselves and act out towards the people who they oppose, and the people who are being opposed see it, they respond to whatever it is just for it. That's why the things can't get over. And then we have the wisdom enough to know that other nationalities come among the oppressed with this mindset that was taught by the oppressor of the oppressor, that show the nationality, that this nationality is a lesser than of the people. And so then when they say, how do they do that? They put it on TV, the news, and the nightly news and everything else. And then, unfortunately, when a person commits a crime, the first instinct is not just look at the person as an individual, they look at the person's color. So it's funny how people say, I don't see color, but subconsciously we do see color. So subconsciously we do it. It's funny. It's crazy to people to say that, because you automatically, you might not think it, but when you want these individuals, is deep welling in you, because it was taught in this country. It was taught in us. It was taught to be like this. Some of us just haven't admitted to it. And that's in this country, in the United States of America, racism is so deep. It's a spirit. It's so deep. It's a spirit that has been around for a long time. And before, and it was around, probably go back to clear before, back when the people in the Bible, it was around, and it just got advanced when the people left and got over to different parts of the world and start having military ability and oppressing ability to oppress, to gain and steal and take and suppress other people, and so and manipulate people and things like that. And that's the reason why we can't move on as a people, and then as a country we can't move on. Some parts of this country can't move on, because as long as you have a segment of people that keep dividing it, and you've heard this, and it's the truth, it's a spirit. The spirit of racism is on this country. And people that see it, wow, man, got so many different people. But there's a division. There's always been, but there's a segment of Americans want it their way, and that's the way it is. If it means going back and attacking the ones who did the oppressed before, and attacking the new ones that come in and try to set up shop who they are now. But that's who we are. That's what we are. That's why we do what we do. That's why we can't move. We can't move on. That's why as long as you have, wickedness in high places that know how to operate and put a division up and stand in agreement with the invisible enemy, and go along with it, with his plan, and they know how to divide and conquer. Once you divide and you conquer, you accomplish what you've done. You get one group of people attacking another group of people, opposing another group of people, putting fear and hatred in other people, mistrust and God in other people. And once you do that, that past can't move on. Now, and this is with the individuals, and it doesn't reflect everybody in that race, but a good percentage of people is in that race is around that mindset, and in which it doesn't make no sense. And I want to say, and at the end of this, basically coming to the close, and at the end of this message is that it doesn't make no sense because God did make the race that have this similar features to mine, and just worked out the whole rest of the human race. And it's birthed the other races out. And that's true if you look at the different part of the world they came from. And you got people that think about this, that don't like a person simply because something that they can't help, all because their skin is darker. And then the perception of the darker one. Who you have to ask yourself, this came from the past and it plays in today. Who put this method in it? Who said that? Whatever the perception is, you have to ask yourself, who made it up? And then how does something like that pass? We don't know how long, probably 400 or 500, 600 years ago, it plays into that to this day. So it all comes back down to, that's what it comes back down to. Why people can't come together. And when they come in the same system that we put this in the oppressed people, and they divide them up by taking the lighter ones and putting the lighter ones and the darker ones and dark ones, and divide it between the men and the women, the boy and the girl, and just showing favor and making the male submit down, and so so his female can look up to that. This came from the past too, when it came to the black man and the black woman. This came from the past. Break the man down. That's true too. Who did so? This came from the plantation and the owners of slave. So therefore, the oppressor did this in different parts of the world to win over the particular, or have that the oppressed wife, girlfriend, sister, mother, sexually. You humiliate them. This came out the past, and that's why some people who in the present, when they read that this happened in the past, and when it comes to people, two different nationalities, the one who was oppressed and the oppressor and when they look at the color of their skin, they see the past. They see the past. They see the past. And that's true. They see the past of what's going on. And that's why what's going on today is what you see. And with some people, love is love. But to some people, when it comes to the different skin tones and colors and nationalities, in the love, especially comes to black and white, it came from the past. So that therefore both come to agreement. No. Because the reason why they're saying no, because it's something that they were shown from the past. And it was some people in some relationships some was out of love and some was not out of love. And so the ones that not out of love, the people dwell on the ones that's not out of love, not out of that connection, because people say that, well, this person have a whole different ethnic, culture and ways about themselves and what was taught and everything. This is the reason why they make the big. Some people make another big deal about two races coming together and procreating, and because they saw what was the past. Everything goes back to the past. Everything is in the present. That's what created prejudice and racism and bigotry and prejudice and racism with the oppressed group, the oppressors. They have the three. They have the bigotry, the racism, and the prejudice. With the oppressed groups, which are the groups are the dark groups, only can be prejudiced or bigot. They can't be racist because they have no power to be racist. They have no financial power to be racist. That's true. And this also came from the past. So everything we see out, the reason why people can't come together, and the reason why some people don't want to see others come together, because of the past. And so the perception was that God didn't want. Now they took it and they put it on God and say that God don't want this to come together. They don't want the oppressor and the oppressed come and be in relationship with each other, which it could be a legitimate relationship. It could be out of love. So there's people out there that say, no, you stick to your own, we stick to our own. And it's the reason why they saying that is because of the past. That's why I said people can't let go of the past when it comes to relationships. So that comes into an effect. And then right now, there's the thing between the sexes. Who's to blame? So there's a bit of resentment there too. When some men couldn't protect their women because of the oppressor, because the oppressor oppressed them, and they still reaping from that. And some men refuse to acknowledge that. But anyway, I hope I ain't sound like I'm rambling on, but I want to be the guy that basically can understand, and I know to share my wisdom of what I've learned. Because you ask a question and you wonder why people pose a question, and this is the reason why. This is the reason why this has happened. A lot of people don't realize that the reason why we are in the state that we in, because everything reflects on the past. If you can't get over the past, you can't be within the present. That's the truth. That's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. That's why people are not they're not able to move forward. But anyway, I'm about to get off the live stream, but I just wanted to chime in on that tonight. And I'm a new starter here, so I probably ain't having too many fans, whatever. But I hope whoever listens, they take this with a grain of salt. They take what I say and just really think about it, and they just examine it. Everything what I said tonight is it reflects. Everything reflects, and why it plays the way it does. So, and it's in our. It's almost like it's in our DNA. And then when it comes to this country and probably other parts of the country, other parts of the world dealing with this too, but not at a level that we are at, because it's like it seemed like it's like in America. It seemed like in America basically that's the biggest thing right now. I mean, we see color, and it's just that we're trained to see color. We're trained. We're not trained to see, that you come from some part of the world We see your color. Logically, spiritually, logically, we see your color. That's the past of this nation reminded us. If we see that your skin is red, if we see that your skin is tan, we assume this is one of the nationalities that you are. This is one of the nationalities that your perception is. That's the truth. So we see color in this country. And I know that's probably one of the biggest. I talked with different people in once part of the world one time, and that was one of the questions that they posed because America can't let go of her past. America can't not let it go. Therefore, the people, whether they in my culture or any other culture that's been born in this land, we were taught to see color. Every day we're shown to see color. And even when someone's trying to drown out with music, sports, whatever, something where along the line, somebody is going to have us remind us to see color. Not character, color. Then character come later on. But the color always comes first. We're a color, we're the nation. And anybody say, well, I don't see color that live in America, you gotta want to laugh at them because, buddy, sooner or later, somebody gonna make you see color. They're gonna have you seeing color. They're gonna remind you, not make you see color, but have you remind you seeing color. And whether someone is in the same skin tone or the opposite skin tone, they're gonna have you see color. It's the truth. You come among people that look like me somewhere along the line, color, part of color gonna struck up. Any American native citizen in this color issue gonna come up. Because somewhere along the line, someone might want to tell their story about pain and hurt. And it's the reason why. And with this is the reason why there's a lot of anger and bitterment, and because when some in discouragement and other things, because that's why we're angry. That's why we're bitter. Because again, I know they said America is good. Don't get me wrong, she got a good points. But America also make you see color. And that's what I don't know why she don't let other people know. And come to this country, we see color. We see color. We look at other people as color. We look at different groups of people as color. That's the truth. No matter when they do something wrong, we see their color. We don't see their character. I don't see their character. Some of us don't see. Let's say some of us don't see. Some of us do, but some of us don't. That's the truth. But it would be nice for one day for racism to end. But it's not. Be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody's listening to this, racism won't end. Not in America. The only way to end when the Most High God cracked them skies. That's when it ends. Because anything that's deep down subconsciously will be put down into the pit. But long as you have people seeing things of color, and it's even affected our churches. It's even affected Sunday church. They said Sunday is the most segregated time of the year. Blacks go to one church, whites go to the other church, Hispanics and Asian people go to the other church. Pray to the same God. Same God will answer their prayers. The same God will answer their prayers, but yet we see color. And then not only that we divide on color, we divide upon denomination. We divide upon whether we're Catholic, we're Presbyterian, we're Lutheran, we're Baptist, we're Pentecostal, Apostolic, Seventh-day Adventist, and so on and so on. So we always constantly divide it up. We constantly divide up in the body. We divide up. But we don't realize those who are in the church world, in this particular church that believe some will believe in, they believe in that there's the Most High God, and the ones who believe that He has a Son has to have one thing, and it believes that Spirit, God's Spirit, is in the earth as we speak, and how which is in the earth, but yet we divide it up. We divide it up on what we speak. We divide it up, and so this plays into not only into the other nationality who's among these group people, but even with our own African Americans, we divide it up. We divide up with the other people. We divide up in. We divide. Well, I believe in Jesus. Well, I don't believe in Jesus. Well, I believe in the Spirit. Well, I don't believe in the Spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's just back and forth. So we divide it up. So this came from the past. This was taught in the past in our spiritual system. Is brought together in our present system. So anyway, but I just want to get all this out because people always want to know why. Why is this? Why we have to be divided up by religion? Why do we have to be divided about by neighborhood? Why are we divided about this? Why are we divided about by our color? Why are we divided by different shades of color? Our educational background. Why do we have to be divided up? Because of the past. People bring the past to the present. That's why we can't move forward. That is the truth. So, my name is James Thomas. I hope whoever get a chance to enjoy it, and I hope you see how balanced I am, starting out with the topic, and it led to a broader topic. But particularly, it's just something that laid on my heart, and that I've heard over time different individuals brought this up. But people can't move forward. No people can move forward, regardless what. Especially if you're part of the group that's being oppressed, you can't move forward. And it's sadly to say that you really can't until you get over that. And that's the truth. You can't move as far as your finances. You can't move as far as your mental health, your physical health. It can play your relationship, which if you got a girlfriend or your wife, then it could affect your children. If you have children or grandchildren or and your friends, and lastly, your friends around you and people you encounter. It can affect so many different ways of your life by living in the past. But for the people who don't live in the past, you see how they're prospering. They seasons prospering because they don't hold on to the past. Not that they'll remember, but they don't dwell. They're not with the old times, they're with the new times. They're able to balance it out. So my name is James Thomas again, and I hope this would inspire somebody or have someone to give a discussion. And I'm glad that not a person just complain, but say there's a solution to it. Because some people cry about something but don't talk about a solution. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to end the stream. You all have a good night and be blessed. And definitely whatever interesting topic come like this up, I definitely want to bring more of this in the future. And it definitely, and those who at some point want to chime in, that'll be fine too. And take it from there, and hopefully you can be one of my subscribers. So I'm just being a balanced person. That's all. That's all what I am. Just being balanced. Okay then. You all have a good day and good night.